I'll tell you, the 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 most the there were two moments over there that really hit me. One was, it was about midway through the trip, and we pulled into this. We stayed at government-owned hotels, and we would ride, on an average, about 75 miles a day. So we were hot and sweaty and filthy, and go in and take a shower. And I went out on the porch of the hotel, and there was a friend out there, and prior to going on this trip, I had worked with combat vets, and one of the expressions that I would say to the guys I worked with was, "The war is over." Well, here I was with this newfound friend. We'd been on the trip now for maybe 10, 11, 12 days. And it was a beautiful afternoon. The birds were singing. It was quiet. You could hear the breeze. And I began saying to this person, "The war is over." But by the time I had finished saying those words, I was weeping. And what I realized, and I mean I realized it in my body, was the only place where a war can continue to be fought is in the heart and the mind of the person who had been in that war. And I in working with guys when I came back, I would tell them, guys, at least in terms of working with guys in Vietnam, I go, guys, you know, the war's been over for 40 years. The only person who's fighting that war now is you. Because the enemy's dead. And if you still hate the enemy, you're hating a dead person. And what's the point? And they I think a lot of, well, some guys because PTSD fucked with them and their lives, and because when we came back, PTSD wasn't even acknowledged as a disorder. These guys are holding on to their identity of being a combat vet because that's about the only positive thing they have going in their life. Because since then they've lost jobs, they've been alcoholic, they've been drug addicted, they've been homeless, they've been incarcerated, and they've been in and out of recovery homes. And if they let go of that identity, they have to be accountable for what they're doing with today. And a lot of guys are just reliving yesterday. And I don't condemn them or judge them. I feel sad. And there are people who are really suffering, and they don't have the ability to realize that they are the author of their own suffering. Okay, on this trip we had former NBA soldiers riding with us. And there was a lot of goodwill between the American combat vets and the NBA and the Vietnamese combat vets. And one evening, it was arranged that through an interpreter I was going to speak with this one NBA soldier. And we met in a neutral place, and through the interpreter I told him where I had been, where I was injured, and when I was there. Well, through the interpreter, he told me that he was in the same location at the same time. And the temperature in the room, or at least in my body, just dropped. And I became cold and hard, and my heart was hard, and my heart was cold. And apparently it was a shared feeling. That was the end. That was the end of the conversation. Neither he nor I wanted to talk to each other. And perhaps if there had been a therapist there, perhaps if this trip had lasted longer than 21 days, we could have done something, but I won't speak for him. I was in no way prepared to meet a member of the unit that we fought. He had been a member, I don't know which part, but we were one battalion, and they were 2 regiments of NBA soldiers, and they overran us, and they slaughtered us. I'm just, and I'll say this: um, I'm neither proud nor ashamed of what I did. I do know I had to get out of there. Because whatever I was feeling, I think I was feeling hatred. I just, you know, I just had to get out of there. Because I think I just would have started swearing and gotten very angry. How does that fit with forgiveness? I'm not being lighthearted or glib. I will say this. I forgave myself for walking out of there because I knew I couldn't handle it. I paid some heavy life coinage for what happened to me that day. And I know he in no way was he the man who shot me, because I was told by a fellow Marine that the man who shot me was immediately killed by the particular Marine whom I was talking with. He said he got behind an M60 and killed the guy. But yeah, another thing that I know about human beings is we don't make sense. We're not rational. And I never demand rationality from me or anyone else. I mean, we are irrational beings. We don't make sense. We're not logical.